My friends, I made $100,000 yesterday in one Forex trade. In this video, we're going to break down that trade. It was very, very simple, as well as a trade that I'm literally going to probably be entering as soon as I finish recording this video, as well as a couple other potential Forex trades that I'm looking to take this week or next week if they set up, and then we're going to touch on the crypto market just for a moment. We've got a lot to get into today, so let's go ahead and get straight into it. Now, I posted this in my Telegram channel. I'll put the link in the pinned comment below so you can follow. It's just where I post all my trades and analysis and stuff like that. But this is the trade that I took at the beginning of the week, GBP Canadian dollar. So I posted this analysis a couple days before here in the free Telegram. And you can see it was right here, this analysis. So I said, I'm probably going to get short on GBP Canadian dollar soon. So I entered a sell right here at the resistance zone. And then whenever price started moving down at a profit, right, it was halfway to the profit by the next day, $50,000. And then within a day, it came down and smashed into the profit target. So that was really, really nice, right? So it was like a day of buffer from the time I entered this to the time it hit the profit target. And it all worked out really, really nicely. GBP CAD just had a nice little fall from the resistance zone. So it's important to understand why I took this trade, because virtually every single swing trade I take in Forex is the exact same. It is either a buy at support or a sell at resistance. If I buy at support on the higher time frames, like the weekly, the daily, the 4-hour, I use all of them in combination. Then I put a stop loss below that support zone and I put a take profit at a 1-to-1 risk reward ratio, usually. Sometimes I'll extend the profit target a little bit further, but most of the time I just start at a 1-to-1 risk reward ratio. I risk a high dollar amount per trade, anywhere from $50,000 to $100,000 per trade. This trade you saw right here on GBP CAD, I risked $100,000 on it. The cool part is though, if you use lower risk reward ratios, like 1-to-1 risk reward ratios, that generally means your win rate is going to be a little bit higher. And with your win rate being higher, that means that you don't have as many losing streaks. And with less amounts of losing streaks and also a high win rate, it means that whenever you do have a losing streak, you don't lose as much, but whenever you do have a winning streak, you quickly make back the losing streak with profit. This is exactly what happened to me last week. Last week, I ended up down slightly on the week. This week, I've made back with just 2 trades, everything I lost last week with profit, with only 2 trades. And I had like 4 or 5 trades that didn't work out last week. So as long as you make more in your winners versus what you lose in your losers, it works really well. That's why I use lower risk to reward ratios. If I sell at a resistance zone, I put a stop on the other side of it. I put a take profit at a 1-to-1 risk reward ratio, and it either hits the top stop or the target. And sometimes I'll close early if it starts going sideways or looks like it's not going to work out. So GBP CAD, that's exactly what I did. You can see here on the weekly, we were at this little resistance zone, right? Now, some people would draw this different ways. There's no right or wrong way to do it. The way I drew it was like right here. So I noticed that last week's weekly candle tried to break above the zone, came back and closed bearish. And then whenever price opened this week, we'll go down here to the 1 hour just so you can get a little bit better of a look for it. This is when price had that little breakout. It came back, it tried to bounce, but price was failing to bounce up, right? We were trying over and over and over. We were just having a bunch of dead cat bounces. Normally, whenever price does this, it generally means there are no buyers here at the zone. And generally what you're going to see is you're going to see price then have a movement downwards from the zone. Now, not every single time, but the more a support or resistance zone is tested, the less likely it is to be respected. All that means is that whenever you have price testing it in short succession over and over and over, that generally means that it's less likely to bounce upwards because it's come and it's tested over and over and over, and there's nobody buying, right? There's no orders to fuel a move upwards. If price wants to bounce at a zone, you're going to see it come into the zone, and then you're going to see it fall away from the zone. You're going to see it come into the zone, fall away, come into the zone, fall away. Whenever price gets into a zone and it starts testing it in short succession like this, right? Generally what that means is there's not enough sellers at the zone to cause price to have a movement down. So generally you see price go to the upside. Now again, this doesn't work every single time. Obviously, nothing's guaranteed in trading because trading is risky and most people lose money, and you're probably going to lose money if you try to learn how to trade. But for the people that actually take the time to kind of learn all the nuances like this, like me, for example, I've been trading for like almost a decade now. I've made millions of dollars in Forex and crypto and stocks. You start noticing little nuances and little details and little pieces of information like that help you make trading decisions. There's no shortcut to that. There's no magic strategy. It's just you looking at the chart, buying everything that's going to go up, selling everything that's going to go down, and then managing your trades dynamically based on your experience. So thankfully, my trading approach is really, really simple. And from everything I put here in Telegram, 50,000 of you are able to follow my trades on a daily basis and, you know, just like simplify your trading, let's say. So that's why I took GBP Canadian dollar. Now, let's get straight into the trade that I'm probably going to be taking as soon as I get off this video. And I'll probably have to finish this video up pretty quick because it looks like it's already moving. So this is GBP New Zealand dollar. So we had price come here into this zone for some reason, and price bounced at that region for whatever reason. But then we came up here, we had another bounce away. That was nice. Then we had price come up here again. We had another bounce away. And then price broke above the zone. So we've broken above the zone. We stayed above it for 2 weeks. And now this week we've come back to test this zone. So I had my alert go off at the beginning of this week. I made a weekly outlook video a couple days ago covering this exact setup, saying that I think I'm probably going to be getting long at this zone. I just wanted to wait to see what price action was doing whenever it got there. So lo and behold, price gets into this zone. We have a deep thrust in here. Price pushes up, we have a nice little reaction, and then now we've had a little bit of a sell-off back into the zone for a safe entry. Now, you could have entered immediately whenever price got there. I saw that this big push down to the zone with that big candle was kind of scary in my opinion, so I just decided to say, you know what, I'm gonna wait. This looks like it could just like break through this zone. I don't want to stand in front of a Mack truck as it's like barreling down the highway this fast. So I just decided I was gonna wait. And then as all this was setting up, this was like 2, 3 a.m. in the morning yesterday. So I just left it alone. So now we have all of London session today, and we had price kind of trickle back down, but now we're starting to see a little bit of a reaction right here. So what I think is, it's good enough of a shot to say that price might go up from here. And if price goes up from here, we can make some money. And if it goes down from here, we'll lose some money. Now, how is it going to be structured? Well, here's how I'm probably going to structure the trade. I'm going to put an entry right here at the zone at the current market price. My stop loss is going to go just below the zone. And my target's going to go at a 1-to-1 risk-reward ratio. Now, whenever you look at this, you'll notice if price breaks below this zone, I'll probably have the opportunity to get out a little bit before price actually goes and hits the stop loss. And even if it hits the stop loss, it's 1 unit of loss, I can live with that. However, if it bounces right here and it goes to the profit target, then that means that I make like essentially whatever it was I risked. So in this, I could risk 50, I could risk 75,000, I could risk $100,000. But on this right here, I might risk anywhere from $50,000 to $75,000 on this. That's what seems safe to me, so that's what I'll probably end up doing. But this is a trade where it's just a break and retest trade, right? But it's no different than just support resistance. Breaks and retests are just buys at support and sells at resistance, but with a little bit of context. People will say this is a sell at resistance, that's a sell at resistance. Well, you know, it's the same thing if there's this little zone here where price was bouncing as support, and then it breaks below, and then it comes back up to retest, right? You're still selling at a resistance zone, but a break and retest is just selling at resistance with the context that it was just bouncing there as support. But you're still just selling at resistance. The trade still looks the same. The logic is still the same. The risk structure is still the same. The management decisions are still the same. Everything remains the same. You're selling at resistance with a stop above and a target at 1-to-1 risk-reward ratio or whatever. You know, if you want to target a 1-to-6, a 1-to-69, a 1-to-420 risk-reward ratio, be my guest. But when you go on a losing streak and you start crying about it and getting upset, right? Don't come back here and complain here on my YouTube channel. Because I'm telling you, 1-to-1 to 1-to-2 risk-reward ratios, those are fine. Those are more than enough to be profitable if you just risk high dollar amounts per trade. I'm not the type of guy that risks like 1% of his account per trade. Now, I don't put all my trading capital into a trading account. I put a small portion of it, but you can just use the high leverage you get in Forex trading, because to trade Forex, you have to use leverage. Otherwise, you're just not gonna be able to make any money. You'd have to have like millions of dollars just to catch small moves and maybe make a little bit of money. So the cool part is you just put a small dollar amount into an account and just use the leverage. So if you got 100K to trade with, you don't have to put $100,000 into your Forex trading account. You can put like 5K or 10K and then just risk however much you want to risk per trade. If you want to risk $1,000 per trade and you know you're unlikely to have a 10 trade losing streak, then fund a 10K account and risk $1,000 per trade. Some people that are idiots that don't know how to trade will look at you and say, oh, you're risking 10% of your account per trade. You're risking $1,000 on a 10K account. It doesn't matter if you blow the 10K account because you have the worst case scenario, 10 consecutive trade losing streak, and you get out of none of those trades early for a smaller loss, right? All of them hit the stop loss 10 times in a row. Well, you've got 90% of your trading capital on the sidelines. You can just fund another account, or maybe trade demo for a month or two to kind of like work out the kinks in your system. Then you can optimize, then start again with some capital. I don't recommend putting all your trading capital into one account. That's why I split my capital across the Forex market, the crypto market, the stock market, and a bunch of different things just to like diversify in a way that makes sense and still allows me to get decent returns per year on capital. But in Forex capital, my money that I have allocated to Forex, I don't put it all into one account. I only put a couple $100,000 into one account. And you know, if I lose it, fine. If I make money, I make a lot of money, right? Because I'm risking so much per trade. All that matters is what your risk tolerance per trade is. Find out what that is, estimate your average losing streak, and then double that number if that's your account balance. If you're comfortable risking $100 per trade, then you know your average consecutive losing streak is about 5 trades, which that can happen even with a 1-to-1 risk-reward ratio, and that will happen. That happened to me last week. Then take that number, 100 times 5, right? So that's 500, Take that number and then double it. So that's $1,000. That's how much your account balance should be. Okay? If you're comfortable risking $20 per trade, and you estimate that you would have a 5-trade losing streak, that's the worst case scenario most of the time, that would be $100 total of loss, $20 per trade times 5 losing trades in a row. $100 of loss, double that. $200. That's your account starting balance, $200. Not financial advice. Do whatever the hell you want. I'm just saying, as a generalized suggestion for entertainment and educational purposes only, that's how I would do it, and that's how I actually literally do it. So if you want to do it that way, I don't know. That's up to you. So I'll probably be buying GBP NZD most likely after this video. I'm going to watch it here for a second, but most likely once I get off this video, I'll probably be jumping in here. So Euro AUD, I took a sell off this. I made 100,000. I made 90,000 on it. Let's go see. So this is a private group where I call all my trades. I'm not going to give you the link to this group. Just join the free Telegram channel. You can follow a lot of my analysis for free. But this is where I call all my exact trades in here. So where was it? Here we go. This was it. So last week, Euro AUD. I sold here at this resistance zone. You can see there's the resistance with the wicks. I don't even have to draw the resistance zone. You see the stop loss was above the highs and a target was just at 1-to-1 risk reward ratio. And again, I do all this live. I've done it live for 7 years. That free Telegram channel that you're about to join, if you're not already in there, I have been running that channel since the summer of 2018, which right now is like 7.5 years. And I've just been posting my trades, my analysis, everything in there. So all my trades, I call them out live, and they're time-stamped and everything here in Discord. So, it is what it is. Same thing on Telegram. But I post the analysis. Sometimes I don't post the exact trades because I got to save something for the people that pay me to follow my trades. Otherwise, I wouldn't make any money doing this stuff. I don't even run ads here on my YouTube channel. So I charge for my Discord group. But I mean, it's like a small monthly fee. And if you're following my trades and you've got decent capital and we have a decent month, a lot of people are coming out in profit like $5,000 to $10,000 a month if they have a good amount of capital to trade with. If you don't have capital to trade with, this isn't for you. You can still trade the way I trade, but you shouldn't join any of my groups. You can follow my free Telegram channel, that'll be fine. But if you don't have a lot of capital, it's not worth following my exact trades. You have to have a good amount of capital to trade with. How much is that? At least 5 to 10K. If you don't have that much to trade with, I'm sorry, my group's not for you. Don't pay me any money to join anything that I offer. Instead, you just go and do it on your own account with smaller capital and just follow my free content here on YouTube and Telegram. Just being so direct and transparent with you. It is what it is. That's just how it is. So with this here in Discord, I called this trade out. This was the GBP CAD trade that was next. But you can see last week, I was down $180,000 or $170,000 up until this $90,000 winner on Euro AUD. And then I made back, look at all these losses. So USD CAD, 1, 2, GBP NZD 3, 4, 5, and then 6 right here. So I actually had a 6-trade non-win streak, right? Now, some of these were break even. You see, this one was break even, 900 bucks. This one on GBP NZD was break even. But all the rest of these were losses, partial losses, and even some stop outs. That was a stop out at break even. These were stop outs. So this was a 6-trade losing streak, right? Now, I know there's more individual trades, but there was 6 positions, right? Six positions. Just broken up into individual trades because my broker has a 75 lot limit per entry. So I have to layer them if I'm going to be doing more than 75 lots. And so with this, it was a 6-trade streak where I did not win a trade. You're right, I didn't make a significant profit. They're either break even or losing. And then all I did is I had 1 trade, and that brought back more than half the losses, right? So now last week I was down $80,000. And then with this trade right here, this one won $100,000. So now it won $100,000. So now I've made back everything I lost last week, and I'm up on $20,000 profit. Just in 2 trades, right? 6-trade losing streak. Made it all back with the $20,000 profit in only 2 trades, only using 1-to-1 risk reward ratios. That is why I love trading this way. 6-trade losing streak. That is insane. That is wild. And then to only have 2 trades hit the TP. Everybody complains when there's a losing streak, whenever you lose multiple trades in a row, but nobody complains when you win multiple trades in a row. And yet the statistical likelihood of those things happening are exactly the same if your systems are pretty close to a 50-50. The only reason I'm profitable is just because when I do happen to win, it's generally a little bit more profit than what I lose whenever I happen to lose. Because my win rate floats between 40 to 60%. Sometimes on some weeks I have 50, 55, 60, 65% win rate. Some weeks I have 100% win rate. I'll take 2 trades, I'll win both of them. Other weeks I'll take 5 trades and I lose 3 of them and I win 2 of them. So I had a 40% win rate. But the win rate doesn't matter. What matters is as long as your win rate's somewhere close to break even, which is just 50%, all you have to do then is start letting your winners run a little bit longer and then cutting your losses a little bit shorter. So if I get in with a 1-to-1 risk reward ratio, price starts breaking a zone, it looks like it's going to go to the stop loss, I can close halfway to the stop. So if I risked $50,000 on that trade and it goes halfway to the stop and then I close it, I lose $25,000. But then if I take the next trade and the next trade starts going into profit and then I just hold it and then it goes all the way to the profit target and I make $50,000 on that, I have a 50% win rate, right? I lost the first trade and I won the second trade. But on the first one I lost 25K. On the second one that I won 50K. 50K minus 25K, boom, it's a $25,000 profit with a 50% win rate. You do the math works the same. You take 4 trades, you take 8 trades, 10 trades, 20 trades. If you just win half and you lose half, but you make a little bit more than you lose on the winners versus the losers, you're profitable. And you don't have to do all these mental gymnastics that so many people that you see here trade. I have black and white charts, and I just have like blue support resistance zones. And I just sit here and I do pretty much nothing all week. I just set alerts and I wait. I sip my coffee, I walk my dog, I go out on my balcony and get some fresh air. I make my scrambled eggs in the morning, I go work out, I do some sauna, some jacuzzi, some steam room. I go and drive my car, I go to the shooting range, I go to the cigar lounge. Like I live my life, and when I do get an alert, whatever I'm doing, it gets to my phone, which I'm recording this video from, and I get that alert, and then I can go to the chart, and I can open it, and I can look at the price action in the context, like we are in GBP NZD right now. And then what I'll do is, like, if I think it's still worth taking, then I'll take the trade, I do the risk structure, and then I drag the stop loss into place. I use the appropriate lot size to risk however much I want to risk on the trade. Then I'll screenshot it, send it here in my Discord group, and then call the trade out. And then it either goes to the profit target or it goes to the stop loss, or I exit it a little bit early for like a break even or a small loss or a small profit. It is very, very easy. If I were not running this YouTube channel and having like a paid subscription group where people follow my trades and doing all this stuff, I would probably spend less than 30 minutes per day dedicated to trading Forex. And that would probably be 15 minutes in the morning to click through the charts, make sure my alerts are set, analyze price action, this and that. And then about 15 minutes in the evening, maybe before I go to bed, to just kind of look at things, get an update, manage, look at price action, look at where the positions are. And that's it. It would take me 30 minutes per day. And literally yesterday, I had a trade hit $100,000 profit in like a day, right? It was probably a little bit more than 24 hours, but you get the point. I entered it on Monday, and then it closed on, I believe, Wednesday, or maybe I entered it on Tuesday. I can't even remember. It's all there in the timestamp history. But it was about a day, and it made $100,000 profit. That is so insane, like with me barely doing anything, right? And if you are not a complete idiot, right? If you use 2% of your brain and you just keep things simple and you control risk, then you might be able to do this too. The only reason I can't say that you could do this is because it's illegal for me to say that. And I can't promise you anything, and nothing's guaranteed in trading, and nothing's guaranteed in life in general. But look at how simple it is. I'm showing you literally every single thing that I'm doing. If you take the time to learn these very, very simple things, use basic support resistance zones just to structure risk. You can't predict where price is going to go off support resistance. It's only useful as a risk structure. It's only useful to say, okay, if it gets here, if it bounces, then I can have an entry here and a stop loss here and a target there. And then if it bounces, I'll make a profit. And if it loses, I'll lose a little bit less. That's all support resistance is good for. You cannot use it to predict where price goes. You're going to have a bad time if you try to use support resistance to predict price. If you just use support resistance as a way to structure and control risk, works great. And then you're not so attached to like being right, because being right is irrelevant in trading. You're going to be wrong all the time if you're trading. And with you being wrong all the time, you have to make sure that when you are wrong, you just lose a smaller amount versus what you win when you happen to be right. So that's why I only use support resistance, and that's why I literally just have these like black and white charts. So I'm going to click through these. We got a few updates. AED JPY going up here into the resistance zone. We might bounce, we might not. Nothing on AED CAD, GU. Euro CAD might be setting up soon, but we'll see. I don't know if she's going to bounce there. USD CAD, I don't know. I don't really like any of this stuff. I'm just going to keep clicking through until I see something like Euro GBP. I'm going to set an alert up here at this zone, and then if price can get there into that zone, I'll probably sell. I will probably sell. Let's put an alert there. And let's just delete all this. I think I was doing this from like a YouTube video. I was just like showing people. So this is right here. So these are the two zones I'm looking at. If it comes here to this support zone, I'll buy. If it goes here to this resistance zone, I'll sell. And I'm going to move that up a little bit. Euro USD, same thing as Euro GBP. If it comes here to this support zone, I'll buy. If it goes here to this resistance zone, I'll sell. And you barely have to do anything. Look, it's the weekly chart. Each candle's 1 week. You barely have to do anything. CAD JPY, there's my two alerts for buys and sells. USD JPY, I'm not liking this, to be honest. Like, it has to go pretty far to the next zone. I'm gonna wait on that one. AUD USD, nothing for now. NZD USD, this was the trade that I made the most money on my trading career ever. This was like 2 weeks ago. It popped up here into this zone. I sold, it came down. I made $125,000 profit. And all this is posted there in the Telegram channel. So again, if you're not in the Telegram channel, link in the pinned comment or the description or something. Go find it. You can only join through the link in here. You can't find it on Telegram because it's a private Telegram channel. That way there's none of those stupid sponsored ads. I cannot stand that. The channel used to be public, but I can't stand you guys getting berated with ads on my Telegram. So I changed the link to like a private. That way there's no sponsored ads in it. Okay, so GBP AUD, this looks like it might be setting up soon. I will be looking to buy when price gets down here into this region. So price gets there, look to buy, stop below, target above, and we'll see what happens. CHF JPY, I don't see anything for now. It's still a bull run. NZD JPY, we're far away from the zone. USD CHF might set up, but I don't have really high hopes for this one. It's also kind of a weird zone because there's 2 points here. First one and this one over here. But also this lower low here, which was like really low. So that's where my alert is sitting at, but I don't know about USD CHF. So that's that. All right, now we've covered the trade that I took that made me $100,000. Yay! And now we've covered the trade that I'm about to take, which is GBP NZD, which I need to remember to do. So I've got to wrap this video up here really soon. So just stay with me here till the end. And then we've talked about potential other Forex trades, which are also covered in Weekly Outlook and in Telegram. You want daily updates, you want updates by the hour, go to Telegram. The moment I get an update, I post it in there. I may not have time to make a YouTube video until then. So if you want my immediate updates, just go to Telegram. Now we're going to be talking about crypto. Okay, so crypto. I sit here with my holdings and I'm doing nothing. If price continues up, we're going to be good. And if not, we're not going to be good, at least for the time being. I still see no reason to change anything from my previous analysis. My previous analysis earlier this week and before. Now, Solana had a huge spike up whenever gold crashed like a day or two ago. And then it had this dip like 10% down, but now we've recovered most of that. Uniswap was all the way up here. Uniswap had a dip of 13%. That sucked because I have a lot of Uniswap. And if we go up here to where I think the target will be, I'll have like $500,000 worth of Uniswap. So right now I have like maybe $200,000 or $300,000. So if it gets up from where it's at here all the way up here, that'll be a like 79% gain. So we shall see where Uniswap goes. AVAX, we had dips on all these tokens. Now they're starting to kind of push up, but I'm not over here trying to bet the farm on this. I've only bet a portion of my trading capital on this. Chainlink, Cardano, Algorand, and Sui, all these are kind of still floating around the same prices as where they were earlier this week. Bitcoin went all the way down here to $103,000 on the last weekly candle. And now we've popped up. We had this huge pop up when gold crashed. Gold crashed 6%. Bitcoin popped up about 6%. That was immediately lost. And then a new low. Anybody trading on leverage here is getting so screwed. That's why I don't trade leverage. If you're buying and your stops are anywhere underneath the lows, you're getting liquidated there. If you're selling here thinking we're going to be going down, thinking it's like a downtrend, this would have liquidated you if you were a short seller. So it comes down, we've just been like killing everybody who's in leverage with all these spikes back and forth across the lows and highs. It's pretty crazy. We're probably going to see a big move. It could be up, it could be down. For now, I think it's going to be up still. Believe me, I'm not a perma bull. As a matter of fact, most of the time I am like very, very non-optimistic and very pessimistic and like saying, no, we're in a bear market, shit time to buy, it's horrible, it's horrible, it's horrible. But I start becoming more optimistic when other people get really, really scared. So it's like be greedy when others are fearful, be fearful when others are greedy. Yeah, it's kind of like that. When I see everybody freaking out saying like, no, we're in a bear market, we're this and that, I start thinking to myself like, it's good everyone's thinking that because that means everybody's selling and I can get like really, really low prices. And most people are wrong. And right now there's a lot of people saying that like things are going to go lower in crypto. It could. Okay, anything could happen. I don't know. I'm not a god. I lose money all the time in Forex trading. Have you seen my Forex trades the past couple of years? I lose all the time, right? I only make money because I just make a little more than I lose. But with that, that just means that entails that I'm wrong all the time. So I can be wrong about crypto. Maybe it goes down and I lose another million. I have to cash out and it is what it is. Could have bought an Aventador SVJ, but instead I would have lost $1 million. It is what it is. However, something tells me we're still likely to go up in crypto. Perhaps that's the past decade of experience in watching these cycles happen. I think like this is my fourth cycle, my fourth crypto cycle, my fourth time watching this over the past decade. I've seen it over and over and over. The time to sell is when everyone is saying that it's time to buy. Like, you know, and if you even suggest like, no, crypto's overvalued, you know, Bitcoin's at 140K or 150K, and you know, I think it's a good time to sell. When people start crucifying you for that and start saying, no, we need to buy more, it's going to go all the way to 200,000, it's going to go to 300, it's going to go to $1 million by the end of December in the next 2 months. That's the time to sell, is when most people are starting like really, really optimistic, right? When everybody else gets like that, like Warren Buffett calls it greedy. When everyone else gets greedy, you should start getting fearful and start saying like, okay, maybe now actually is a good time to sell because everybody else is thinking it's going to go up. They're all buying, and price has already gone up quite a bit. Maybe right now would be a good time to start selling off some portions of the position. And that is what I will be doing. I'm selling my crypto holdings either when Bitcoin gets to around 130 to 135K, or whenever these crypto tokens reach their final targets, which I have preset that I made a whole video about like a week or two ago. So my average entry prices are at these purple lines, and my profit targets are up here at the green line. So you can see like all these, and again, I've shared all these in a previous video. You can go watch that here on my channel. It's a couple videos ago, and I will see where this goes. So as far as, I mean, let's look at the actual portfolio here so you can see the actual positions. We'll go here to Coinbase. I keep a portion of my capital in here to just trade crypto with, so just to do spot trading. So with where things are at right here, we've got 1.3 million, now it's up to like almost 1.4 million. The past week, how have things gone? $74,000 this week. I was down to 1.3 million, then I was up here to 1.47 million. These are like, it's a $170,000 swing right there. It's insane. But here's all my positions. Here's my average entries. You can see 198 average entry on Solana. And here's all the average entries for all the other pairs I'm in, or not the pairs, but the other tokens I'm in. I'm still waiting. I haven't done anything. There's been no changes to my portfolio, or let's not call it, this is not a portfolio. Most of my Bitcoin and crypto sits on like ledgers and a couple exchanges here online. But this is a Coinbase account that I use to just spot trade crypto, right? It's kind of like my gambling account. I've taken a lot of the profits I've made the last few months. I've just put it in here so that I can gamble on altcoins. Because if it works out, then I make like a lot more money. And if it doesn't work out, I lose a little bit of the money that was already profit, and I'm fine with that. So these are my positions here in crypto. We'll see where everything goes, and we'll see how it all works out. Anyway, that's all I got for you here in this video today, guys. If you like this video, that is great. I'm not going to ask you to hit the like button because I'm not your dad, but you can still call me daddy in the comments if you want. I'll reply to you. But if you like this video, cool. If you want to comment, cool. If you want to subscribe, cool. Whatever, you do whatever the hell you want. But one thing that I will ask you to do is, if you do want to follow my trades live, just join the Telegram. It's literally free. If you get in there, you think it's bullshit, you can leave it in 30 seconds. It's not that big of a deal. You don't have to give me your email. There's no hoops to jump through. There's none of this BS. Like, you can just click the link and join. If you made it here to the end of the video, I want you to do something very interesting. I want you to put the numbers 666 in the comment section below. And if you're superstitious and you believe all sorts of fairy tales and stuff, and if that makes you feel weird, then just put the number 66. It's perfectly fine. So put that number. And then you can leave a comment, and if you ask me a question with that number, that lets me know that you made it all the way here to the end of the video. And then I'll be more likely to go and reply and like hit the like button on your comment, or like hit the heart for your comment or whatever. So if you have a question, you want to ask it and you want to get the attention, right? If you just leave a comment, most of the time I don't even read the comments, whatever. But if you leave that number 66 or 666 in the description below, then I will go and I will read your comment, and then if I can help, then I'll respond to it. So with that being said, my friends, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Things are looking really, really good in both Forex and crypto. I'm going to go take a look at this GBP NZD trade right now to see if I can get an entry here, and then yeah, we'll have to see how this pans out. So yeah, see you guys in the next video. Cheers. Bye.